How's it going, people? What is happening? Hope you're all well. Welcome back to Football's 12th Man podcast. As ever, I'm your host, Dan Potts, and I thought I'd bring a wicked guest on today to talk all things Arsenal. PREMZY, what you saying, bro?
Oh, big up yourself, bro. Appreciate you having me on, man. Things can't be more positive right about now, can they, Dan?
Listen, man, it's going well. It's going well. 3 games in, good preseason, good first 3 games, new signings, which is what we're going to come into. And do you know what, PREMZY? I've got to start by asking where you're at, because me and you have similar opinions in terms of where Arsenal should be and where Arsenal have been currently. And when we start like this, we always try to keep level-headed, but can't help but get a little bit excited about the way we're playing, because it's been enjoyable. It's been really good to watch. And I just want to get your overall opinion of what your thoughts were from the preseason going into the first few games, including the signings. Like, what's your general thoughts at the moment, PREMZY?
Do you know what? Yeah. At the end of the season, Dan, obviously we spoke off air and stuff like that. Man was not happy we fucked up the 4th position. You get me? Because that was our opportunity to just bump it up, get into the Champions League, go for different caliber of players, and it'll take us to that next level. We missed that opportunity. Now, pre-season's coming. We've got players through the door early, bro. And we've got Jesus, Zinchenko, Fabio Vieira. Obviously, we haven't seen him play yet. But bringing in Jesus, somebody of that caliber, who Arsenal personally would have never have got if we didn't have Mikel Arteta. Yeah. So I got to give him some applaudits for that. Yeah. We've been persistently consistent in pre-season, winning games. Yeah. Looking good. And we've continued that form going forward within the first 3 games. What a contrast it's been from last season. We got battered within the first 3 games. Bro, I was ready to pull my hair out after them first 3 games last season. You seen what I was on. But you got to give these man some credit. I do credit as well for getting in these players early as well, because it is down to him to get these man through the door, and they've done it. For me, still, we have to stay level-headed. It's only 3 games. We can see anything can happen in the season. We're 2 players away from disaster, in my opinion. Up front in Jesus, and also a midfielder away from absolute disaster. We get them 2 players in, Dan, then I'll start thinking, right, okay, Europa League is a good chance we'll secure that and win that and secure the top 4, because you can't doubt the boys right now. You just got to get behind them, because they're not showing us anything wrong right now, bro. And that's just where I stand right now, man. Positive.
Listen, it's positive, bro, and it's honest as well, man. I can't say that I disagree with anything you're saying. And you and I were both frustrated at the end of last season. And to be fair, I think both of us were frustrated in the end of the season before that as well. When I look at progress and I look at the understanding of where Arsenal should be, I still think there's a way to go. And I grew up winning things. I grew up with Arsenal winning titles, Arsenal winning trophies. And some people think I'm spoilt because that's what I demand. But when I see us miles away from that, it gets me frustrated, because to spend this much money to go into the new stadium, to be told and promised stuff by boards and even the boards of old that we were going to be competing, and to see us not competing, it frustrates me. All I want to demand is the best, man. And some people think that's negative. Some people think it's toxic, and maybe it is, man. But the way I look at it is, if we're not competing at the top, I want to be demanding that extra level as to why we're not, and asking questions why that is. Now, when I look at the way things are in the last few games, PREMZY, I've been really, really impressed, mate. And I've been impressed with the manager. I've been impressed with the board for doing stuff early, and I've been impressed with this team. And I want to go into a little bit about the new signings and what's impressed you with this new Arsenal setup, mate, in the first 3 games. So I'll let you have the mic, man. And I don't care where you start, but there's enough players to talk about at the moment, bro.
There's no other place to start than Gabriel Jesus, bro. And we've been hearing his name time and time again, podcast after podcast, pundit after pundit. There's a reason for that, because this guy has come into the team, and I've mentioned it, revelation. He's turned us up a notch. He's put us, our attacking threat, to a different level, something we didn't have last season. And like I've said, he's not just brought that to the team, he's lifted everybody around him. Martinelli now looking a different player. Yeah, he does need to be a little bit more clinical, I would say, but you're looking a different player, getting himself in them positions, the hunger there, the drive's there. Saka, you can see he hasn't had the first couple of great games, but you can still see the hunger, the will to do well. Ødegaard as well. I was calling for him to start scoring goals, because in my opinion, we need goals from midfield, Dan. And you know what? The guy must have been listening to me, because he weren't having it. He weren't having it, bro. He seen Jesus gonna swivel and hit. He thought, nah, run that. I've got the opportunity here, bang. And sometimes that's what we need, because It doesn't say Jesus was going to score if he hit it. You know what I mean? Ødegaard had the better opportunity. Take them chances. William Saliba, this guy has come in, yeah, and it looks like all them loan spells that he's had has paid absolute dividends, because I was one of them fans that wanted to keep him here, develop him at the club, because I didn't want us to miss the opportunity of not be able to re-sign him on another contract. Now, we all know when players are getting loaned out and they've got good quality, they're going to get a bit pissed off in it if they're not going to be playing or they're not involved within the squad. But he's come in, played the first 3 games. We've kept 2 clean sheets away from home. He didn't let his head drop when he scored an own goal. Following game, what has he done? Weak foot finish, and the fans, the new song, I love it. I can't lie, Dan. Absolutely love it. But you know what? Zinchenko, I just want to touch on Zinchenko as well, because I was one of them that I wasn't so optimistic about him coming. I didn't mind if he came to the club because I knew that he was a good player. But I seen other options there, which I thought, you know what, we could potentially go for as well, as cover for Toney, because I didn't really think we're going to be getting a replacement for Kieran Toney, because I love the guy, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? So I can't really see that. But since he's come into the team, it's going to take Kieran Toney some serious work to push him back out, I'll be honest, because he offers us something totally different to what KT does. KT, yeah, he's powerful. He's hungry. He bombs down that left side. It's great. And there's nobody that can really do it better than KT. But Zinchenko, what the system he's allowed us to start playing is he will push into midfield and have a bit of a 2 with Partey. And that would allow Saka to push forward. Now, this is where I think we need to upgrade on Granit Xhaka, because if we get a midfielder like a Tielemans, who's a lot more technically sound when it comes attacking, in the attacking sense, we'll get more goals, because the license is now there for that type of player to score goals. But like I said, Dan, man, the signings that have come in, positive, man. I can't knock him one bit. Like last season, I was doubtful of a few of the signings. They come in, prove me wrong. This season is all about stepping it up and taking it to that next level. If we get 2 signings, another striker for me and another midfielder, because we can cover on the wings, Fabio Vieira, Emil Smith-Rowe. There's players, there's talks of Neto coming in. We get him. I love him, Dan. I absolutely love him. But there's opportunity there for us now to really push on. How many years has it been we've sat here and said, oh, we're 1-2 players away from having a top season? Years and years. Let's rectify that now. When shit is going positive, we're going in a different direction. Let's rectify that. Get them extra players through. And we're nice, in my opinion.
Listen, I agree with everything you've said in relation to the players that have come in, and more importantly, where we're still short. I think a lot of people know we're still short, and the great thing is that the window's still open. I do feel like you that we need another few players in the midfield and forward areas, because I do feel that we're a little short. And last season, we were really, really hurt by the injury to Thomas Partey, and I'm just not sure that we've got that destroyer or that monster in midfield that can come in once Partey does get a knock. And I don't know about you, but I look at Partey's injury record the last 2 seasons. They've been long-term injuries. It hasn't been a couple of games here, a couple of games there. And I'm not sure that Lokonga and Elneny can come in and do that job. And we're linked with Tielemans and we're linked with Paqueta. They're not really the types that you want in terms of a Thomas Partey replacement. They can certainly come in and be an upgrade on Granit Xhaka. That's absolutely 100%. Although he's been playing well of late, I do look at that and I think that's a massive issue for me, because Lokonga, as much as I do like him, I don't think he's that holding midfield destroyer that we need. Elneny can come in and do a job, but doing a job is not really what we need for a long-term replacement. And I know that Partey's not guaranteed to get an ACL or be out for 6 to 12 weeks. But if it does happen, I do think we'll be weak there. I think you're right in terms of Zinchenko, that he's definitely allowed the upgrade on Nuno Tavares because he's better. So if Toney gets injured now, we've got cover. I think with Tomiyasu, there's still doubts at right back for me that Cedric's good enough. But I think that with young Norton Cuffy coming through, and of course Ben White, who's proved that he can play there now, perhaps that's not seen as a priority. But I'm with you. I think there's some forwards that are really lacking if Jesus gets injured, because Eddie and Nketiah come on and did a job for the last few games of last season, but where's the aerial threat? Where's the target man up top? There isn't really one. And I like a different option, PREMZY. I like a Giroud type to bring on. So I do think that we're short there 100% in terms of what we're after. Let me just bring this super chat in, bro, from Chaitanya. Chaitanya, big up yourself, man. Much appreciated. Says the signings look class as they played for the best team, the champions. Also thoughts on Neto. I'd say game changer. Get him. Being frugal has cost Arsenal titles, like when we missed out on Prime Suarez. Let's put that one to you, man. Pedro Neto. What do you reckon?
I'd love him. I think he's very high intensity. He's hard working. He reminds me a lot of Martinelli, to be honest with you. I think he's very similar to his style of play. And it would be a massive upgrade on Pepe. Definitely, hands down. Bring him into the team. He fits the bill. He's young and he looks hungry as well. Like when he's playing in that team, he's one of the standout players game in, game out. Obviously, he's come back from a little knock as well. But if you could get him for the right price, hands down, I'll bring him in. But that's still just touching on what you said about the different option up front. 100% agree, Dan. Like if we can't break a team down with Jesus and we bring Eddie on, I'm not trying to knock Eddie, but Jesus obviously we know his levels above Eddie and Nketiah, and they're very similar type of players. If we're struggling to break a team down, we need another option to come off the bench. If we take a Zinchenko off, put a Toney in, what's Toney's best asset? Whipping the ball into the box. It gives us a different weapon, something else, because it's not just the Premier League we're going to be competing in here. It's going to be the Europa League as well. Last season, we didn't play 2 games a week. You get me? It's going to be a real test. It's going to take its toll on the players. And unfortunately, with the Thomas Partey situation, we know it going off experience that he's likely to get injured. But I don't think they'll bring a signing because they give El Neni a 1-year contract extension. And I think that is just as clear as day. The only hope we have got is if they bring in a Tielemans on a cheap that can maybe contest with a Saka. Something happens to a Partey, we can then bring in a Saka to replace Partey and put in Tielemans in that option. That's just the way I see it right about now, Dan.
I agree with you, and I think that's the most realistic option. Is Tielemans being asked to be left out means he wants out, and I think that he could last minute end up at Arsenal, which means that Xhaka could play if El Neni and Lokonga aren't in that kind of mindset of Mikel Arteta to play in that holding midfield role. A lot of people in the chat talking about Zaha, and yesterday a lot of people talking about Ivan Toney, who's banging in goals at the moment for Brentford. Looking like we are Premier League proven for Tielemans and Neto. Zaha and Toney, what's your thoughts on those two, bro?
I think the boat has sailed on Zaha now because even though I'd love him at the club, I think he's a fantastic player. I feel like the age of him right now is not really going to be meeting the criteria of what Mikel Arteta wants, even though I think we still do need a bit more experience in that team. So for me, I would take a Zaha, but I'd prefer a Neto because I think the ceiling's a lot higher for Neto with his age and stuff like that. And he's been in the Premier League, so he is proven as well, Neto. With I just want to mention on Caicedo as well, man. He's a top player, but I don't think Arsenal are going to be moving in for a player like him. I think he's more than likely going to go to a United or something like that.
Is this the one from Brighton? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Good player, man.
Yeah, he looks decent. They've replaced Basuma with him, haven't they? And he looks a lot more athletic.
But Ivan Toney, Dan, we've had these conversations last season. I'd love to take Ivan Toney. I think he's a very complete striker. Wants to do well. He's been in the lower leagues. He's had the hustle and bustle. He's come to the Premier League and he's not set the Premier League on fire like he did the Championship, but there's a good player in there, good different options. So I'd take Ivan Toney hands down as well, man.
Yeah, listen, I really like him. And it was a player that I actually kind of not disrespected. I think that's too harsh. But I said, I don't really want Toney at Arsenal. I think he's doing a good job at Brentford. This was last season, right at the start. And then everyone said, oh, he's scoring goals. And I thought, fair play. So I started to watch him because I didn't really know much about him coming from, obviously, Brentford. Started to watch him and I thought, actually, there's a lot about your game I really like. He bangs in goals. And what's he doing at the moment? Banging in goals. So for me, when you're looking at Jesus' injury and you're bringing on Eddie and Nketiah, nothing against Eddie, did a really good last end to the season. But I'd rather be bringing on Ivan Toney, who's known to score goals for Brentford in the Premier League. And I think that would be a real good upgrade. Keep Eddie as well as third choice, of course. But for me, bringing on Ivan Toney would be a much better chance. In terms of Zaha, I'm with you. I think that's done. We could have got him, but we got Pepe instead. He's still looking good for Crystal Palace. And to be fair to him, Vieira's got the best out of him again and has prevented him from wanting to put in a transfer request. But I can see Neto and Tielemans being two options that Arsenal will go for towards the end of this window. Just bringing in another super chat, just very quick. From Smoky Settings, hope you're well, bro. Says, not sure on Neto. He doesn't score enough for me. I think it's a fan thing. Jeremy Pino, another player we linked with, scored a Saka-like goal versus Athletic last night. And then another guy who I don't know anything about, which is a new name to me, Is he baiting me here? Noni Madeki. Do you know anything about him?
No,
PREMZY?
I don't know him. I don't know him, to
Nah,
be honest with you.
nah, don't know. Let us know in the chat, Smokey, who you're talking about, because I've not heard of that. But listen, I think with Neto, PREMZY, yeah, I get it. I understand that there was injuries last season and there's not enough goals, but I do think there's a player in there, man. I really like him and think he fits the bill. I think he can play both wings, and I think he'll be a really good signing, man. So I'm with you there, bro.
Do you know what? With the Neto situation as well, yeah, what I want to see from Arsenal is bringing in Premier League proven players. Now, the
Yeah.
one thing we know about Neto, we get Neto, he's played in the Prem before. It's not going to take him a year to settle in. Put him in with better players like Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, and you probably will see a better goal return. Get him in behind the Martin Ødegaard, you can feed him in. You probably will see a better goal return from Neto. Because, like I said, it's just because one player doesn't bag in loads and loads of goals at one club doesn't mean he's not going to do it at another club. You know what I'm saying? He's still young. The ceiling's massive. He's got Premier League experience, and it will add much needed depth to our squad. Because if we could go into this season with good squad depth, we'll be all right, man. We'll be all right.
Yeah, fair play. Listen, Arsenal Thursday saying it is a real guy. He's from PSV, and apparently he's English. No one I've heard of, I can't say. So let's see what happens. Somebody, Smokey, here we go. Smokey's can't say. He used to play for Tottenham Youth, plays for PSV now, England under 21, and he's that guy. Wears the bandana on the wing. Gonna have to look this guy up and see what he's about,
I'm
PREMZY.
not
But
even gonna lie, bro. I don't even watch PSV like that too tough, so can't even say I
yeah,
know
man.
him.
Listen, do you know what? PSV have got a couple of players I do know that I would like, and one of them is Ibrahim Sangare, who I think is an
Yeah, I know
absolute
him.
beast in the middle. And then, of course, Cody Gakpo. Everyone's talking about him going to United now, and
Mm.
I wouldn't mind us being interested in him. But I do get what you mean. Premier League proven is definitely important. I'd like Tielemans because I think it's an upgrade on Granit Xhaka. I do believe that a centre forward is needed, and I would like Pedro Neto. I don't think a right back's going to come in because I think they've proven that they've got cover with Ben White, but also they've got Cedric and Norton Cuffy coming through as well. But for me, man, if we get Tielemans and Neto or a couple of signings that you're saying we need, what sort of rating would you give that as a transfer window for Arsenal, bro?
I give it a solid 8, solid 8, solid 9, because the reason why is because we've gone to Man City and we've took 2 key players from them. Even though people might think, oh, they're not first team players, load of bullshit, yo, because they get a lot of game time at Man City and they've been a big part of their success at their football club. Now, maybe they might have been under the radar because they've been bigger stars, but just to get them players through the door, like I said about the Premier League proven quality, it shows, it takes impact straight away. Look at Liverpool, Dan. When they started their rebuild, they started doing what they're doing. What did they do? They went to Southampton, went to other places, took players from there, and it went well. What did Man City do at the start of their rebuild? Took Premier League players, stripped us naked. You know what I mean? It works. Now, I understand looking overseas and getting players, and it is exciting, but it's never proven. Look at Nicolas Pepe. We've got to look at that situation now and take caution with certain players. I'd say in that department. Then.
Fair play, man. Listen, I don't think we're done. I think outgoings are definitely necessary, and also I believe we need a few more like you do. I expect to see the back of players like Bellerin. I expect Maitland-Niles to find another move. I think Pepe will go back to France, and it looks to me as if there's some more coming in with the rumours today from Neto. So it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks for all teams, but Arsenal certainly looking like they ain't done yet, and that's a great thing. Let's move on from transfers, man. Let's talk about this season. We've talked a little bit about the new players. Saliba, I agree with you. Rolls-Royce defender. For me, I think he's got the potential to be world class. The ceiling is absolutely massive with this guy, and I'm with you. I was a bit disappointed that we didn't see him last season, but he's here now. Let's forget about last season and let's look at what he can do for us. I think his partnership with Gabriel is already looking very, very good, and I think Ben White has proved that he can play at right back. To be fair to him, and it's going to be hard for him to get back into this centre back position now because Saliba he ain't getting dropped, mate. The way he's playing, I agree with you with Zinchenko. I think the leadership and the mentality is there as well as the technical ability, and I like the fact that he's versatile. And who could not love Gabriel Jesus, man? I absolutely love what I'm seeing from him. But I want to talk to you about some of the players that already were here because you mentioned one already, and that's Martin Ødegaard. Now, Martin Ødegaard is now our captain, and I expect to see him prove that. I expect him to step it up. And he did. At the weekend, he got 2 goals. Like me and you said, we demanded him more goals, and he's listening to us. I look at what Martin Ødegaard does on the ball, though, and there's a lot I like about him, man. He's technically gifted. He's really good to watch. He's comfortable on the ball. Looks to me as if everybody's confident to give him the ball because they know he's going to do good things with it. And that's what I like about Martin Ødegaard. A lot of people compare him to Ozil, saying he goes missing. I think the mentality is completely different. I think the work rate is completely different. I don't think the two are similar at all. But I understand what people say when he goes missing because his stats don't look that great. With 7 goals last season and only 4 assists, he needs to do better than that for me. So when he's got the 2 already now, I need to see him moving on. What's your opinion of him this season? And are you going to be like me, wanting him to step up and try and get on that score sheet a bit more?
100%, Dan. I said it in my EFTV interview after, I think it was like the second game. I said, I want to see more from Ødegaard because in that game against Leicester City, I seen like there was opportunities for him to shoot. There was opportunities for him in that game where he could have had a crack, but his confidence looked a little bit low. He didn't look like he wanted to really go for it. And he's a player that is actually got a decent shot on him. You know what I mean? It's not like he can't really bang. He can bang, so let it go. And that's all I want to see from him. I agree. I think people kind of compare him to the Ozil situation because his level of passing is very good. He has a high level of passing ability, but he's been in the game for a long, long time now. He's been knocking around for a long, long time. He's got signed to Real Madrid as a youngster. Now is the time for him to turn that level up and show everybody the player that he was meant to be, because he's been settled at Arsenal now. He was loaned, he's back at us, and now he looks settled, he looks happy, he's got the captain's armband. He has to go and push on and show us now that he's not just an average centre attacking mid. He's above average, because that's what we need in this club. Above average, Dan. That's where I stand on him. Big up to him, though, for getting them 2 goals. Showed hunger, shown desire, shown that, you know what, he's not just happy with not scoring and not trying to get them goals. He wants it. And that's all we want to see. And that's all I ask for of these players. Show some pride. I'm trying not to swear down on your show, but show some pride.
You're calm, man. It's all good, man. It's all good. And I'm with you. And I want to bring up this comment from Depressed Goon in relation to the captaincy and what your thoughts were on Ødegaard's captaincy. He says, thinks he's the best captain since Cesc Fabregas. What's your thoughts on the armband with Ødegaard? Was he your first choice or not, mate?
No, not really. You know why? Because I don't feel like he's very vocal, and watching that All or Nothing documentary as well, it's pretty stands out pretty much in it. Like the only person in that changing room that's talking anything is Granit Xhaka. Nobody else is really standing up and counting. Maybe it's different with Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko in there now. Maybe they are characters that will stand up and talk, but I can't really see it. I think Jesus is more of a guy that will do his talking on the pitch. And with Ødegaard, he's the captain of his country. So there must be something in there for managers to see that he's captain quality. But right now, personally, obviously, I would have given it to Kieran Tierney because I think he's just got all captain qualities about him, but he's not a regular starter. I do want a captain that is going to be a regular starter. So I'd have maybe looked at a Ramsdale, somebody like that. He's got leadership qualities, gutted when he's losing. He's got a voice on him as well. And maybe giving him that captain's armband would make him be that leader in the changing room, make him shout at people because he feels the responsibility. But he's got it. I'm going to back him. Hopefully, it'll make him score more goals, just like Daniel's saying it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I wanted to see more goals, and I actually really like the player. A lot of people think I'm harsh on Ødegaard, but all I do is ask if he can raise his game in terms of his goals and assists. I think he's a great footballer, and I think it would be a shame if he goes throughout another season without that. So that's what I'm hoping he'll get. And you know what? I have confidence that he will, because I believe he's got Jesus around him, and I think that's going to make a hell of a lot of difference. Lastly, man, I want to come on to Saka, Smith Rowe and Martinelli, because they had a lot of pressure on their shoulders last season, particularly Bukayo Saka carried this team in the last couple of seasons, some would say. I look at it now and I think it's quite nice to see these other players playing well to take a little bit of pressure off of him. I know he's been quiet in the first few games. It will come back because he's a world-class talent potentially. I look at Martinelli and Smith Rowe as well and think that's great cover. So what are you expecting from those three this season in terms of goal ratio, mate?
Well, with Smith Rowe, first of all, I'm going to start with him because he ain't getting that much game time so far. We don't know how much that's going to progress with the season going further. But as it stands right now, we can't expect the world from Smith Rowe if he ain't really getting the game time. I believe when he comes on, he's going to have to show us something of world-class quality to take players like Martinelli and Saka out of this team right about now. With the Saka situation, you're right, Dan. He's been carrying us best part of 2 years now, along with Aubameyang in certain seasons. He's been carrying us, but he's been our bright spark. We've been reliant on him. And yeah, maybe we could say we burnt him out, but I'm not really a fan of that word because professional footballers, I think you're getting paid till you should be that fit that you should be able to run, you know what I mean? Because if I was getting paid that kind of money, believe me, yeah, I won't be complaining, you know what I'm saying? But now the level of competition has risen. like I say, the signings that have come in, Martinelli as well. I personally think Martinelli looks up to a Gabriel Jesus. He plays inside the Brazilian national team. He's an older figure in that team compared to himself. And that's brought a different level out of Martinelli, which now where we're looking at Martinelli, the attention's not so much on the Saka, which is relieving the pressure on him to an extent. And I think we just got to give him that little bit of time just to find his feet again, connect with the chemistry of the new team, the new way we're attacking. And plus, you got to understand he's not got Tomiyasu behind him as well at right back. So that side is getting a little bit disrupted. It's something new. He's testing out Ben White at that right back. It's new to us. So we have to give that a little bit of time. But we've seen the quality in Saka, Dan. We know what he can give us. So I wouldn't be worrying if I was an Arsenal fan in the sense of, oh, is Saka going to do this and do that? Just have that faith in him. The boys took himself to different levels from a very young age, and the ceiling's still high, still young, and it's just going to take a matter of time in order for him to start performing again. Martinelli, quality. His engine, Dan, is unbelievable. He's like a Ferrari. My man he's just going. He's absolutely going. But I want to see him be more clinical, because there's been opportunities now within these first 3 games where he could have got an extra goal here, an extra goal there. Like Smith Rowe at the end, Eddie Nketiah at the end of the last game. He was there. They had more or less a clear sight on goal, 1-on-1 with the keeper. All 3 of them missed it. We need to be more clinical, and that's where I stand with them. But it's like I said, it's all positive, man. Just last season, I wish we were speaking about this last season, having problems like this. You know what I mean? So it shows signs, it shows progression, and as long as we can stick at it, fizzle out all the shit out of our side and all the daft mistakes and change the mentality, you can see us having a good season.
Listen, I'm with you, man, and I do believe in all 3 of them, Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli. Martinelli, I agree with you. I think sometimes he can be rash with his finishing. I think he needs to improve there. I think Smith Rowe needs more game time, and I think he will get that this season now that we're in all 4 competitions. When Vieira comes back, I think him and Smith Rowe play a lot of games. I honestly believe that Bukayo Saka at the moment is just having a good time and a good game. And maybe that's what he deserves sometimes, because we're expecting so much of him now that all the time it's like a typical performance. And I think with Bukayo Saka, albeit he has actually scored a goal this season, I think in the last couple it has been a little bit quieter. And you know what? I've been okay with it, because it hasn't all been about Bukayo Saka. So I'm 100% with you, man. Listen, before we wrap up, bro, I want to get your expectations of this season from this Arsenal side. And I know it's early days, PREMZY, and I don't want to start getting carried away like some of the fans are, but I need to look at where your kind of expectations are for this Arsenal side this season, and where you stand on Mikel Arteta with this coming season, bro.
My expectations, bro, is clear. We have to get top 4 in it. If we don't get top 4 and we don't win the Europa League, for me, then it's not good enough, bro. We can all see the process. We can see signs of improvement, but many other clubs in the world have had seen signs of improvement, brought a different man in, and they've took it to a next level. Now, I'm not going to slate Arteta too much, because I'm trying to get behind him this season, you get me? Because I want us to really do well, bro. And I'm not really trying to kill the guy off, yeah? But he's got to have them expectations, because at a club like Arsenal, you have to have them level of expectations, bro. And if you don't achieve them expectations, what's the punishment? You get me? There's got to be a punishment. You get me? Because look at Wenger. He wasn't doing it. He ended up getting the chop, bro. He was our greatest ever manager. We can't let this guy be in the club for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and just basically have another Wenger situation, which we can't allow. But before I start going on a mad thing, yeah, because 18 years of hurt, yeah, it's built up in there, Dad. I tell you, it's built up. But it's looking positive in it. If he gets us that top 4, even if he gets to the Europa League final and we win an FA Cup, and it's a tight game and we miss out by 1 goal, then fair enough, I can understand it. But for me, we've got to be at least winning the FA Cup, Europa League, top 4 for me, innit? It's got to be that kind of season. Otherwise, there's no progression.
Yeah, I think when you finished 5th last season, the only way to progress is to get higher than that. So that's what I'm demanding. And I want to try and get as close as we can to Liverpool and City this season, which means that we'll be looking at 3rd place. 4th place would be acceptable for me in terms of where we were from. I never really like to accept top 4 as a great season, but I think for where we are and where we were, that's probably the best that we can hope for this season, in my opinion, the way that we have playing, the way that our squad is looking, and obviously the manager still learning at times. I look at the Europa League, though, and I think that's a real chance for us. I think Roma, if Man United get it together, and the teams that drop down from the Champions League, of course, will give us some problems. But I honestly believe that we have a good enough setup to win that Europa League and to get into the top four. And yeah, you're right, Premzy. I want to always see us go into the deep stages of both of them cups. You know, the domestic cups are not seen or should never be seen as, oh, these just get in the way. Because the FA Cup, for me, I lived on it. I loved it. Yeah. And then you look at what happened with the League Cup, the amount of finals we've got to and never quite got over the line we've always wanted to. So, of course, I want to see us go into the deep stages. But if you had to say to me now, you had to kind of get rid of one and what would you go for? I'd go all out to win the Europa League so that we get a European trophy. Champions League is secured and we've got a trophy to show for the end of it, man. So I think we're on the same wavelength yet again, bro. Listen, I've got to say a big up to yourself, man, and allow you to say thank you for coming on, but allow you to big up your channel and plug your stuff going on, your content, man. So, PREMZY TV, yeah?
Now, first of all, I just want to say, people that are watching, yeah, Dan Potts is a real one, you get me? Ever since I met him, he's always been proper with, man. And you know what? Good stock, good people. So if you watch him, make sure you're subscribing to his channel and following his content. But if you want to find me, PREMZY TV on YouTube, on the road to 3K, people. So can't do it without you. Hit the subscribe button. And also PREMZY_AFC on Instagram, people. Catch me on there. Message to let me know that he's come from this show. And I'll interact with you, people. But big up, Dan. Appreciate you having me on, bro.
Listen, you're always welcome, bro, and I'll definitely come over and get some Arsenal chat on your channel as well. Make sure you go over there, people. The subscription is PREMZY TV. The description below has his subscription and YouTube channel in it. So make sure you do that. Go and hit the like button and support the content. Thank you all so much for listening. Myself and PREMZY will be back, I am sure, very soon. And we'll be doing some more content towards the last week's games, but more importantly, the games for this weekend. So let's hope that Arsenal can keep things going. Nice little run up until that North London derby will do me just fine. Take care, people. Over and out.
That's fucking of it.
Up the Arsenal, people. Latest.